I think that at least a few of you are going to crucify me in the comments for this video. Hey guys, Manny back here with another video on the CascadeScents fragrance station, and this one is on my top 5 most overpriced fragrances. I'm not saying that these are bad or overrated by the community. In fact, I love some of these. I just think that in retrospect, these fragrances aren't worth what I paid for / what they're going for currently. At this point in my fragrance journey, I think it's really important for me to do a video like this so I can move forward from now on as a smarter shopper, which I may not have been in the past. Anyway, we might as well start off the countdown. Here's my number 5. It's Green Irish Tweed by Creed. Now, I know some of you are ardent Green Irish Tweed worshippers, but before you destroy me in the comments, please hear me out. I still think that Green Irish Tweed is a classic, and also, unlike another Creed millésime that may suffer from batch inconsistency from time to time, this one has always been consistent for me. Then you add its beautiful, fresh, and grassy aroma that's super versatile, and now you're probably wondering, why is this on CascadeScents list? Let's just say that Green Irish Tweed is the most popular Creed or niche scent in my area, #coolwater. Also, I find it funny how it's debatable that Pierre Bourdon might have created this fragrance too, but I'll save that topic for another video maybe. Now, for the record, between Green Irish Tweed and Coolwater, this is by far the better of the two in my opinion. But regardless, most of my friends and loved ones find either of these scents to be super familiar. I live in a decently populated suburban area, and Coolwater is that type of scent that you can smell in the office or at the gym locker room, just about anywhere. And people have literally told me outright that my Green Irish Tweed smells like Coolwater. Like, oh my god, I love Coolwater. And while they may think they're flattering me with that, I'm not in the business of being a fragrance head and buying a $425 fragrance or a discounted version like this one to smell like a common $40 one, as good as it overall smells. That's why Green Irish Tweed by Creed is on my list, again at number 5. Now moving on to my number 4 most overpriced fragrance, it's another grassy one. Here's Bleecker Street by Bond number 9. Super grassy and fruity with the blueberry that gets woodier as it goes on. Also somewhat of a gourmand backbone with either vanilla or something sugary, which I actually don't appreciate here because it feels out of place for me. But overall, I think this overtly synthetic blend works because it's a crowd pleaser with more than adequate performance. That being said, unlike Green Irish Tweed, this grassy fragrance is not the OG of its respective scent. The OG is in fact Ralph Lauren's Purple label. So in case you're unfamiliar with Bond number 9 as a whole, this is one of their expensive imitations. They actually do this kind of stuff quite a bit, but I'm not anti-expensive imitation or clone myself. Like when it comes to cheaper clones, I'm going to bring up Coolwater again. For its price, I definitely do think you get what you pay for, but if I'm paying 3 times the price of what the OG is right here, it better be 3 times the quality too, but it isn't. In fact, I only prefer Bleecker Street by just a little bit just because it's a little greener, which I historically prefer. But since I can no longer pick up Purple label for a better value because it's discontinued now, I'm going to be less harsh on the scent overall because you can't remotely find this scent anywhere else. So now that the OG has come and gone, it's kind of unique now. But yeah, not much more else to say here. Again, it's my number 4, Bleecker Street by Bond number 9. Coming up at my number 3 most overpriced fragrance, here's the Eau de Parfum version of Bleu de Chanel. Now for me, the juicy and kind of sharp, long-lasting grapefruit opening with some spice is the pinnacle of Bleu de Chanel's EDT version, but since it's kind of weakened here, at least the base notes are supposed to smell smoother and nicer, right? But honestly, I just don't care for that stuff as much. It just isn't as emotionally captivating for me for whatever reason. I kind of just buy Bleu de Chanel again for that super long-lasting opening. And in my experience with these base notes here, it becomes a skin scent almost ASAP, which really sucks because if it's a crowd-pleasing scent, I want people to smell it, right? Also, the expectation for an Eau de Parfum is that it will definitely last longer than the Eau de Toilette, but for me here, it's almost not really noticeable. It's like maybe an hour at the most, and at this point for either scent, they're both skin scent territory, so who cares, right? So it doesn't perform that much better than its predecessor, and I prefer the predecessor's scent overall more too. As a result, I really can't justify owning the EDP version for $25 more in this quantity. Now, believe it or not, I got rid of my EDT a couple months back because someone offered me a good price for it, and a couple weeks later I was able to scoop up this EDP for a pretty good price too myself. But I don't even care right now. I do miss the EDT that much that despite this stuff being more expensive, I'm willing to trade it for an EDT. So do message me in the comments if you are up for that trade for my number 3, again, the Eau de Parfum version of Bleu de Chanel. Coming up, we have my number 2 most overpriced fragrance. Here's Mandarino di Amalfi by Tom Ford. Now, Mandarino di Amalfi is known for its gorgeous citrus and citrus floral accords that you can use for nearly any indoor or warm weather occasion, totally a vacation or beach getaway type scent. There's not many other fragrances I'd rather reach for in those occasions. Overall, it's not a groundbreaking type of scent, but it's unique and pleasing enough to me at least that on scent alone, I think it's worth owning. But holy crap, is this stuff overpriced because like the rest of the Tom Ford private blends, it's around $225 US for a 50 ml. Not saying that all of the private blends are as overpriced at that evaluation in comparison to this one, but this one along with the rest of the Neroli Portofino collection are among the weakest, so I'm gonna have to spray more of this stuff. So $4.50 per ml with excessive sprays, in retrospect, is kinda too much for me. Like, I wish so badly that there was a cheaper alternative, and I don't even care if that cheaper alternative would perform even a little bit slightly worse. But if it's way cheaper than $225 for this, then I'll take it. But since that doesn't exist, that's why it's on this list as high as number 2. Still gorgeous on scent alone again, Mandarino di Amalfi by Tom Ford. Now finally on to the main event, my number 1 most overpriced fragrance, in my personal opinion from my collection. It's Original Santal by Creed. This is without a doubt one of the most fraudulent fragrances of all time. Believe it or not, if a Creed millésime has the word original in its name, it's not actually that. In fact, it's the opposite. So like how Original Vetiver is a clone to Mugler Cologne, Original Santal is in fact a clone to Individuel by Mont Blanc. Now again, I'm not against houses of any level of prestige cloning fragrances, but to outright clone something and have the balls to put the word original on your version, I think is the most fraudulent thing ever. On top of that, this 75 ml retails like the other base level Creed millisemes at $350 US. Then you take a look at what Individuel brings to the table at 75 mls for $30. It's not even close. You have to go with Individuel. Like, I prefer this stuff by maybe like 5% more because I like how Creed does the aromatic freshness here, but it doesn't smell like 10 times the scent that Individuel is. Not at all. And Individuel has better projection and longevity, so it just bodies this stuff overall for me. So unless you got a really good deal on yours and you kind of like the scent more like myself, then there's no reason for you to own this. Also, just one more thing, I do find it funny that Pierre Bourdon also created Individuel by Mont Blanc. So of course his creator of the OG status is confirmed when it comes to this and that. But does this furthermore add to the credibility of the urban legend that he potentially created Green Irish Tweed or helped create it? Who knows? If you guys want to tell me what you think about that, I'd really appreciate it. Please do so in the comments. But yeah, that about does it for my number 1 on this overpriced list, Original Santal by Creed. And there you go all together too. It's pretty much the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Do you agree or disagree with my picks here? Again, let me know in the comments. I'd also love to know what you guys find overpriced. If you guys really enjoyed this video, please smash a like button. It really helps me out. And if you really want to catch me the next time, also hit subscribe if you haven't yet. As always, thanks again for the support. I'll catch you next time. Take care. Peace out. Bye.